Happy Christmas Eve, fellow explorers. I am here in Kent, New York, Putnam County. We are ready to embark, me and my brother-in-law over here, on a venture to find one of the infamous stone chambers. So we are parked right over here. We're going to take this trail, which is the orange, and not too far, one of the most aesthetic, pleasing to the eye chambers is going to be coming up. Hopefully not too difficult to find here in the snow. But yeah, hey, also it's called Mead. Did some research before I got out here. There's been a lot of research on this particular chamber and many others around the area here in Kent. Another look at the trailhead. That's the kiosk over there. Oh, looks like we already got off trail a little bit. It's over here. DEP land, watershed land. This is where all the creeks and streams feed into the local reservoirs, which then in turn delivers H2O to New York City, kind of creating a buffer so as not to pollute the water. That's why you need a permit out here, kind of just environmental protection. So many people are trying to push for these rock walls here in New England and New York area as the eighth wonder of the world, because there's so many miles of rock walls that have probably circled the earth a few times. So that's kind of like an amazing feat. The effort and time that went into building these walls. Usually when you build a rock wall like these, it's to keep sheep in and to mark border lines, land lines. Wood, usually wood was used for fencing, but it doesn't last very long. It decays. But as you can see out there, just all off the trails and throughout this forest, even over here, you're going to find these rock walls. All right. Yeah, I think I see it in the distance there. Yeah, this is called the Mead chamber. Apparently back in the mid 1800s, the Mead family was up here, as well as other families. I'm going to post up images of the maps that I've been studying of the individuals that might have lived up here. There's a 1854 map. It doesn't show the Mead family on that map. And there's a 1867. There's a few other maps. I think a 1876. And you can see the exchange of owners, or they just didn't place their names. All right, let's. Oh, this is awesome, man. Maybe put my backpack down. I got my flashlight. But let's, you know what? I'm going to have my brother-in-law hold the camera here so you guys can get a good perspective of the size. I'm about 5'6", so what would you say, 6 feet?
Now a little more than that, maybe 6'5".
All right, we're going in. Let me get the flashlight open. Let's take a look at the craftsmanship. It's a little slippery, gotta be careful.
A little bit, there's a little ice on the floor here.
Oh yeah, gotta be careful here. So, most of these are dry fitted, it's cobbled. Many researchers have said that the mortar was placed after the fact, just to secure it up. Many of these chambers have been repurposed or reused by different families. And supposedly some of them align to the solstice, equinoxes, and the there's a certain word for it, a phrase. It's like the midsummer.
Oh, the midsummer?
Midsummer alignments.
Yeah.
Like in between the equinoxes and solstice.
You get those flowers on the ground?
But yeah, I got those too. So what's really remarkable, a lot of people are fascinated by these slabs on top, these capstones, because they're kind of hard to find in nature, and to get them over the top, it's probably a arduous task, a pretty difficult task. Supposedly they use ox and chains, manpower. Yeah. So I want to take another look at these slabs. These huge, several ton, maybe not several tons, probably a few thousand pounds. So there he goes. Let's take a step back and talk about this a minute. For those who are completely unfamiliar, you can come back with me. EF. So the reason these are infamous is because there's really not much historical data on actually who built them. There's two competing letters. One is written by a fellow probably, I think around the early 20th century, Lucas Badger. He talked about his grandfathers or father's father said that they knew how it was built. What they did was they carved out a cavity in a hillside like this, little hillside, and then they then they start cobbling the stones, and then they used ox with chains, and then dragged the slabs on top.
They drag like from here?
Yeah, they probably had a chain going across.
Yeah.
And slapped the ox in the ass and pulled it over across, and somehow using precision. I can't imagine like, oh man, you went an inch too far to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, bring the ox on the other side and drag it back. I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean,
very, very solid.
And it's not leaking. So I could see the early colonists having relatives back in Ireland, Scotland. The tradition of building these particular structures has been passed down, and only a few people had them. There was, again, Lucas Badger was saying it was a gang. It was like a subcontractor, so to speak.
Yeah.
Would travel around the area, and there's Kent alone.
Yeah.
Has the highest concentration of these chambers, and there's probably a few more out there, but we're not going to go looking too hard for it because of the snow and so forth. But we are going to go probably to Hawk Rock. There's a Hawk Rock, and it's said that it is a sacred place. The Native Americans did heavily hunt this area, and that area was considered a ceremonial location.
That's correct.
But looking back over here, so that's the one theory, and that's what archaeologists pretty much
That's that's a heavily understood.
yeah, there's nobody else that built these things.
Yeah.
That's it.
I got you.
And the other is there's only two people technically that were on this continent, Native Americans and the early colonists. So the other theory is it was the colonists, Native Americans.
The natives did it.
And then you have your more French theories, such as early explorers before Columbus, Irish monks.
Does it go back to aliens? No aliens.
No. Yeah, well, that's at the very bottom of the list, and I try to avoid that. That's just that ruins the whole.
Yes.
The whole what's a good word?
The marvel of engineering.
The marvel of this engineering, that we would say our early colonists couldn't have built this. I'm kind of leaning towards that. I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah.
My last bit of information, if I still lived here in New York, historical documents. There needs to be more research done, because if there was a Mead family here back in 1850,
Yes.
I'm sure somebody was literate enough to write a letter, and it might be tucked away somewhere in the archives that nobody has discovered yet, saying, "Oh yeah, I hired these bunch of guys, and they do a great job. They're really professional. They take pride in their work with precision, such as this. Some are way less aesthetically pleasing as this one,
Yeah. This one is really beautiful.
but yeah, they definitely they got their money's worth. Hopefully, whoever built this." We're going to hit the trail. Hope you enjoyed this part of the video. And yeah, we'll pick it back up once we come across some even more unique stuff.